This episode of Michael's Team Productivity Show is brought to you by Nozbe Teams, the fastest way to done in a team. Let's go. Welcome to episode 3 of Michael's Team Productivity, and today we'll talk about task-based communication. What is this? What does it mean, a task-based communication, as in opposed to email-based communication or chat-based communication? I want to guide you through the process, why task-based communication is something every team should consider, and why it's, to me, far superior to chat-based communication using Slack or email-based communication using email. Let me guide you through the process, and hopefully by the end of this show, you'll get the hang of it. Let's start first with structure of task-based communication. To us at Nozbe, this all boils down to this kind of simple structure. You have projects, then you have tasks, and then you have comments and the parameters of these tasks and comments to these tasks. And this structure makes everything much more transparent. People can see what's happening in each project, how many tasks there are in this project, who are people responsible for these tasks, and what's going on in all these tasks. It's a very clear overview of what's going on, and it helps you get stuff done in a team much better. As opposed to in Slack, where it's just a stream of chats and everything is not structured. There are threads, but that they get lost. It's very, very complicated. And it's really hard if you're coming new to a project to really know what's going on. You just have to review lots of chat, the whole history of chats for this channel to make sure that you can catch up. Here, it's very easy. You just go to a project, you see the list of tasks, and then if you want to know more, you just open a task and see what's going on. The first benefit of task-based communication, it's structured. The second benefit, it's clear. It's clear what's going on. When you look at the project list, you can see instead of ticks, you can see avatars of people who are responsible for each task. And also, if you open a task detail, you can see exactly who's responsible, what's the due date. You have all the task parameters. So it's really clear what's going on here, when the task has to be done, who's responsible, what's going on. The third benefit, they're quick. Adding a comment to a task is very quick. You just, write a short or longer sentence to explain what you want to say or what you want to do, and give your argument, and that's it. It's very quick. Powerful. You can add comment. You can comment not only with words but also with attachments, with files. And people can just download the file and see right there what's going on, what's necessary, how to proceed with the task. Task-based communication can also be playful. You just you can add reactions or emoji, whatever you want. It's so easy. The whole thing is what I like about it. It's very productive because all these things, the comments, the files, even the reactions add value. They make you more productive because then you know exactly what to do with the task. Everybody's on the same page. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it's all contextual. It's all about this task. These comments, this information is all about this particular task. So it's not people are wandering off and just talking generally about stuff. They're talking about a task here. They want to get the task done. Because remember, it's all about getting stuff done. It's more organized because when you think about it again, you have a project, and then we have project sections, and then you have tasks, and in the tasks you have all the task details. So it's all there. It's all very well organized. As I mentioned, not only for people who just started the project, but also people who are coming new to the project. It's very quickly for them to see what's going on and where they should, start working, or what they should be working on, or where can they pick up stuff. And of course, because we're Nozbe, one of our values and values of task-based communication is that it's all mobile. So it all syncs in the cloud, and you have apps for both Android and iOS. This way, you can stay on top of everything also while on the go. So you don't have to be in front of a computer to make sure that you can follow along on a project or grab an errand or just get something done on the go. Another benefit of this kind of task-based communication structure is that it's accessible to everyone. The project, when you create a project in Nozbe Teams, it's accessible to everyone on the team. So everybody can have access to the project. But of course, not everybody has to work on this project. But if they want to see and if they want to give you feedback, it's very easy to access the project and to see what's going on. Additional benefit of using task-based communication in our implementation of Nozbe Teams is that we try to make it as discreet as possible. So to reduce the signal versus noise ratio, to make sure that you don't get notified about everything that happens. You get notified when you get mentioned in a comment. You get notified when somebody delegates a task to you, makes you responsible for a task. But also you have an activity section where you can just review project activity or task activity that interests you, but you don't get notified as much. So this is really important that we don't overwhelm you with notifications. And I think email-based communication and chat-based communication is kind of conducive to being notified all the time and just have this fear of missing out. And we don't want that. When you work on a task, you want to work in a very focused way. Which brings me to another point. It makes you calmer. Like you do what you do. Like you get your tasks down, you write your comments, and when you write a comment, you know that somebody else will read them, and then they will reply to you. They will respond when they are available, when they can do this, and this way you work in a calmer way. It's more asynchronous. So it's more like there is a task, there is my comment, there you go. Deal with it when you can. I'm going to go to another task and just do with that. This is a much better way to work. So let's recap how we see task-based communication. Why task-based communication, I believe, is the way to communicate internally with your team. In one of my future episodes, I will try to convince you to ditch email completely internally and just use task-based communication for everything. First of all, it's structured. The structure of projects, tasks, and comments, everything is clear. Everything is quick, and it's pretty powerful and playful at the same time. And it's also very contextual. It's very well organized. It can be mobile, so you can access anywhere you want. It's very accessible to everyone on the team. No need to CC or mention everyone or whatever, because people can access the projects and then just can review them on their time. It's discreet because you don't get notified about everything and you don't get this feeling of missing out. So it makes you calmer, and it's also more asynchronous because you get to work, you get to focus on your stuff, and then when the time comes to give feedback, you give feedback here using task-based communication. So there it is, task-based communication in a nutshell. Why I believe this is a superior way to communicate in a team and why we built Nozbe Teams. And that's about it for this show. Now it's time for some Q&A segment. One of the questions was that we are still using Slack in Nozbe internally. So why are we using both Slack and Nozbe? Well, I think this, I still think Slack is pretty useful if you know what it's for. In our case, because we are an all-remote company, so everyone works from their home, and we are spread across cities and countries, actually. For us, Slack is a way to chit-chat, to just chat internally. We have a channel called The Firm where we just talk about, if somebody's on or off, or they're just going somewhere or just, doing something. We have a random channel. And the law of thermodynamics of Slack, almost every chat goes to random anyway. We have dedicated channels to teams. So for example, the dev team has a channel, the support team has a channel, the marketing team has a channel, my direct reports, directors have a channel. So this way we can just chat freely about stuff. But the moment a task shows up, we know that we have to just move it from Slack to Nozbe Teams and work on it there. So we try not to work on anything in Slack. We just use it as our company water cooler, as a way to just chat as we would chat if we were in the same building. So what about email? Email is very accessible. Everybody has an email account or can have an email account, no problem, which is great. But the problem with email is that you get messages from both your team and people from the outside in the same mailbox. And I don't think it's right. I think what you should do is completely change, your internal communication. I will talk about it in one of my future shows, to task-based communication, and then just use email with the outside world. This is how I do it. This way, I get to focus on a team first, and then once I've given all the feedback to my team, I can proceed to work on email to talk to the outside world. Because to me, outside world is not as important as my inside world, as my internal world of my internal team. My job as the CEO of Nozbe is to serve my team first, because my team serves the customers and users. And one funny story, recently a person called Clayton Christensen, the author of Inventor's Dilemma, died. And he's been a very good mentor to me, like in a way that I was reading his books, and I attended his a conference where he was a keynote speaker. And he has this theory of jobs to be done. Like, what do you hire something for? Like, why do you hire a banana instead of something else to, for example, feed you in the morning or in the afternoon or something like that? And like, make sure to look it up, the jobs to be done theory. It's very, very good. And the funny thing is that once we have created Nozbe this way with projects, tasks, and comments, and in comments, as I mentioned today, you can have attachments. What we found out is that sometimes Nozbe is not hired as a project management tool, as a task management tool. Sometimes Nozbe is hired as a way to organize documents. So, for example, many government offices, like city governments, regional governments, and even country governments, are using Nozbe for their internal communication of internal flow of files. This way, they don't have to invest in servers. They don't have to invest in the whole infrastructure. All they do is they create a task, which is like the name of the file or what the file is about, and then attach to the file to this task, and organize this into projects or sections or divisions or something like that. So they actually use Nozbe as a way to manage documents. Something we never thought was a use case for Nozbe, because we thought, for managing documents, you would go with a Dropbox or any other cloud provider. But turns out Nozbe is better for them because, first of all, they can also attach comments instead of just tasks, just the attachments to a task. So this way they can, keep attaching newer versions or keep talking how to improve these versions of these documents. Second, they trust our infrastructure, which is great actually, because every attachment that you submit to, that you attach to a Nozbe task is encrypted on our servers. So it's very, very secure. And of course, if you're a paying Nozbe customer, it's unlimited storage. These guys can save lots of money by just not investing in the local infrastructure. And they, of course, trust our backup infrastructure to make sure that nothing gets forgotten, nothing gets dropped. So a very cool use case, how to use Nozbe not only for project management or task-based communication, but also for internal data or internal files flow and management. All right, so that's it for today. Keep the questions coming, and let me know what you want to hear about in the future episodes of Michael's Team Productivity Show. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up, give me comments and likes or whatever you want, or just keep referring or sharing this show to people who you think can benefit from it. Thank you so much. Thanks for your support. Thanks for everything that you do, and get tasks done with task-based communication. Bye-bye.